Welcome, Magnus here, and today we're talking about the differences between Shenmue the Games versus Shenmue the Anime, Episode 1. In this comparison, I want to just kind of establish a couple of key things. First, I won't be able to pick apart every single little detail from every single frame like I did with the actual trailers, because in this I just want to look objectively at what the key differences are between the games and the show. And if I miss something, please guys let me know what you guys caught, because I know that I didn't catch everything, or some things I might have skipped but you feel that it's important to mention. Leave them in the comments down below, because you guys mentioned stuff that I didn't catch in my previous trailer, like comparisons or what I caught there. So I think that's hugely helpful, and I want to give thanks to everyone who watches these videos regarding that stuff. So again, here we go. And finally, spoilers. You're going to get spoilers for Shenmue the Animation Episode 1, and spoilers for the Shenmue the entire series anyway. So I want to make sure that you guys know that, and if you haven't watched or played the games and you still want to watch, then feel free. If not, I've warned you. So here we go. The opening starts with the mirrors, both Dragon and Phoenix coming towards the screen. This take is original, but it's reminiscent of the first Shenmue intro with both mirrors spinning, and Shenmue 2 where the mirrors dance around each other. The show then immediately cuts to the scene in the cave, which was the ending of Shenmue 2 and the beginning of Shenmue 3. So this is the third variation of this scene. The poem is in itself another variation of the poem, which was recited in the same scene in Shenmue 3 and Shenmue 2. Next, in the episode, just like the games, it tells you the date of the first events about to happen. However, the game tells you the exact date, which was November 29th, 1986, while the anime just mentions the month and the year. The anime has an entire set of events before the first events shown in the game. Since I'm sticking to the differences of the game and the show, this must be shown as a big one, even though some of the events, like the tournament, have been revealed in Shenmue lore. They really do a great job at building Ryo's character early on, which was mostly lacking in the games. I have to pull this scene and mention it. In the games, you never saw Lan Di on his way to the Hazuki residence. It's almost like a deeper look into Lan Di in the first episode, more than we ever got to see in the first two Shenmue games. I mean, wow, we're really getting to see him, but still not really get to see his character. Now, this scene that plays out in the anime where Enoki-san and his friend are picking on a little boy, and Nozomi comes to defend him, is in a totally different time period. These events took place after Ryo's dad's murder in the game, but in the anime, it happens before. Also different is that in the game, the kid was accused of hitting Enoki-san in the face with a little plane, rather than dropping his ice cream. Speaking of Nozomi, throughout the episode, Ryo would refer to Nozomi as Harasaki, her family name, which is common in Japan. In both the English and Japanese dub in the anime, she's referred to as Harasaki. However, in the Shenmue games, only in the Japanese dubbing is she referred to as Harasaki.
Harasaki.
Hazuki-kun.
But both her English subtitles and the English dubbing refer to her as Nozomi. It's important to also point out Nozomi would also call Ryo by his family name, Hazuki-kun, as well, in both English and Japanese versions of the show. I prefer how the show handles it, as it's more accurate to the culture. Now, these scenes regarding the murder play out mostly accurate to the game, with a few tweaks here and there. But one of the biggest changes to the lore by far takes place when Ryo attacks Lan Di, and Lan Di scars Ryo's face. This is not what happened in the games, but it gives relevance to that scar and much deeper meaning when compared to the games. Now, here's exactly another difference from the game when compared to this scene. In the games, Lan Di shows a very distinct tattoo near his wrist while holding the mirror, while in the anime, it doesn't show the tattoo. He may still have it, but so far, we can't see it here. In the anime, it shows Lan Di mentioning that there is one more mirror he wants found immediately. Then we can see Chai, who listened in on the conversation, finding out that there is one more and looking to help. In the game, there is no mention of a second mirror until much later when Ryo finds out. And after a conversation with Guizang, that's when Chai actually overhears and realizes that there's another mirror. Again, this series is staying ambiguous with the dates. Shenmue Animation shows some days later in this title card, while the game is specific with 4 days later. I guess this might be the anime's way of also being ambiguous with various events that take place and jump around in the story. Plus, the game's dates are really dependent on the player from here on out. In the scenes that play out here, we actually get a glimpse of Ine-san and Fuku-san speaking with police and helping with the investigation. We never see this happening in the games. In the games, the player is able to attempt to call the cops, but then Ryo will insist on avenging his father's murderer without help of the cops, though he does have a similar mindset in the anime. Now here we see Nozomi in class holding the handkerchief that Ryo gave her after he saved her. In the games, we never got a glimpse of his school, which was pretty interesting. Also, this gave more development of Nozomi's character, which was nice to see. We get to see a lot of examples of character development in the first episode, which was never really shown in the games. In this next scene, which was a flashback, we see Ryo getting taught a lesson about strength as he was thrown to the floor. Ryo isn't exactly understanding what his dad is trying to teach him at this point. A similar flashback takes place in the games, however, it's different because his dad is simply teaching Ryo how to do elbow assault, with no deeper meaning to it. Just a move, that's it. Somehow though, the scene still holds a similar weight to its message. In the next few scenes, again, you get more character development, which are not in the games altogether, so normally I would have moved on. But this one change was mentioned by many fans as very distinct, so I wanted to mention it here. There it is. Ryo's laughing. In the games, Ryo didn't laugh all the way up to the 3rd game. But you know what? I like that he laughed here. It breaks things up a bit, and it does show that he has a soft spot for Nozomi. In this next scene, Tom tells Ryo about the black car that smashed into his truck. In the game, Tom doesn't tell you about the car until Nozomi leads you to him knowing about it. Then Tom tells you that the car almost hit one of his customers, rather than actually hitting his hot dog cart. In this next scene, Ryo and Nozomi are shown eating together in the Ajiichi restaurant, with more character development. Then an old man tells them that the name Lan Di must be connected to the Chinese underworld. That's different from the game, because in the game this never happened, but Ryo is pointed towards Chinese by Tom himself. Later that night, Ryo gets attacked by Chai, who is looking for the mirror. This scene also never happened in the games, but perhaps it's replacing their fight in the arcade? Though in the arcade fight, Chai was after information about Zhu Yuanda. After the fight and Chai's escape, Ine-san and Fuku-san run into the dojo and insist that they will call the police. In this scene, Ryo finally makes a decision to find out why his father was murdered and tells Ine-san and Fuku-san. In the game, Ryo tells Fuku-san very early on that he's thinking about going after them. Then much later, after Ryo once again insists that he's going after them, Ine-san overhears the conversation and begs Ryo not to pursue this. After Ryo rejects her, Ine-san then gives Ryo the letter, while in the Hazuki residence, not the dojo. Also important to mention is that the series didn't go out of its way to develop Ine-san too much in the first episode. For example, right in the beginning of the game, after Iwa's death, it shows Ine-san finding a letter, so you knew she had it for a while. Secondly, it also shows her giving him an allowance every day. This just showed how much she cared for him. The episode didn't develop that part of her personality. Maybe we'll see that later. As episode 1 is closing out, we see Lan Di in a residence, without saying anything, which was just so amazing. We rarely get to see Lan Di at all in the games, as his character is a total mystery. As these scenes play out, we hear Shenhua's poem once more, and the episode ends. What do you guys think? Did I mention everything that you already caught, or were there a few new things that I might have revealed to you? Let me know in the comments down below. I plan on doing one per episode, and this one I'm just getting out before episode 2 premieres tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on where you are and of course the time zone that you're in. And that's why I've got to edit and put it out as fast as possible. So there are probably a ton of details that I might have skipped over, but again, I just wanted to find where I compared the games and the show. So if you've got more comments, leave them down below. They'd be super helpful to the community, and honestly, I just love hearing from you guys. And as always, leave a like. Likes really helps this channel, and it helps push this video out to more Shenmue fans and Shenmue community so we can keep growing and make my channel bigger. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I'm so honored about that. And of course, as always, if you want to see more videos, then you have to make my day by subscribing today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys next time.